So removals. How many of you have done a removal at this point? Or gone on a removal or bringing someone into our care, which is what I like to say, the phrase I like to use. If you're talking to a family, talking to the answering service, anything like that, are you ready for us to bring your loved one into our care? Are they ready for us to come bring him into our care? I always try and use that phrasing, because saying, are you ready for the removal? Are you ready for us to come get him? Are you ready for the pickup? It all sounds bad. It just really does. It sounds like you're going to pick up a pizza or go through the drive-thru at Wendy's and bring home a sandwich. So you really have to watch your wording to make sure that you're not being offensive when it comes to removals. So now Devin wants me just to talk about the details of removals. It's a pretty broad question, but I'm going to kind of go over just some main things that I thought of when it comes to removals, and then answer some more questions, and then at the end kind of do a roundup of some items if I haven't hit on them yet. So number one thing about removals that I want to say is dress appropriately. Ladies, 3-inch heels, 3 flights of stairs, and 300 pounds of a deceased person do not mix. You cannot do your job effectively in a pencil skirt with huge high heels when you're bending over, climbing over things, getting around a toilet because the person's wedged in on the other side. So dress appropriately. Keep an extra set of clothes at work as well. You may get purged on, pooped on, blood all over you. It just may not be, the cleanest thing that you've ever done. It may be a severe decomp. You come back and stink. Have that second set of clothes. So those are just a couple clothing item things. Even if it's at 2 a.m. and you know the family, sweats is never acceptable. And this is, I'm saying this from funeral homes that I know allow their people, their staff, to go on removals wearing sweatshirts and jeans and things of that nature. That's not cool. A lot of what I'm saying is my opinion, but I think it's got some validity to it. So take it for what it's worth, but I'm going to keep saying it. So dress appropriately. I do not think you have to be in a full suit to go on a removal, but wearing a dress shirt, khakis, polo with the emblem, the logo from your funeral home. These things I think are acceptable, but sweatshirts, t-shirts, things like that, not acceptable. So, I'm going to go back to, we're removal. So why I'm saying some of this and why you need a certain level. The removal, I think, is the most intimate thing you do as a funeral director. Someone has just had their loved one ripped apart from them in a spiritual sense. They're gone. And you are now swooping in and taking away their body, often from their home, the home they've shared together for 50 years, the home that they were raised in, and you're taking away their parent or you're taking their child. Yes, we're not going in and swooping and stealing them out, but that's literally what we're doing. We're going in and taking this person that they loved more than anything in the world, who just died, and we're taking them away from them. And we are often strangers. We are often someone they've never met before, but they are entrusting with us their most prized thing, essentially, at that point, because it is, it's a person, but yet it's a body. So their most prized person thing at that point. So it's a very sacred, intimate action that we're doing, and it needs to be revered and treated professionally. And if we show up in a sweatshirt and jeans as if we just left, mowing the yard, and it was like, oh, I'm going to just squeeze in picking up your mom before I go back and start weeding the flower beds. We need to make them feel during that time that we don't want to be any place but there. That we are there to serve them. We are there to take as long as they want to take. And that we are there to just bring lovingly into our care their loved one. So that's why I say no sweatshirts and things. There's this is the biggest action we do, I think, when it comes to connecting with a family and showing our professionalism and our love and our care. So with the vehicles, when you take a vehicle, some funeral homes use hearses or Suburbans or vans or all sorts of different things to go on the removals. Keep it clean. I don't care if you're rushing from another funeral. Take the 5 minutes to vacuum out the flower petals, to clean out the crap from the funeral you just came on, because you pull up to that house and the family wants to walk out to the car with you, or from the nursing home out to the car with you. You open the back and it's filled with flower petals and flags and some towels from when you wiped off the vehicle, and you're sliding their mom and next into all that crap. It is a bad visual, and it lets that family know you don't take care of crap. You leave things dirty. What's that prep room look like? What's it look like where you're going to be putting their mom? Are you going to keep her clean? Are you going to pick up around her? Is there trash other places? Every visual you give a family, they can transfer it out to other places within the funeral home, and you have to remember that. Have a removal bag always, where like in the vehicle, that has gloves and a body bag and, maybe some extra plastic, some labels, a general price list, business cards, things of that nature, that if somebody asks for it, you have it with you and it's clean. It's not all wrinkled because it's been stuffed in the glove compartment. Make sure you have things that look professional, that allow you to do your job safely and to your fullest capabilities. Now removals, I am a big proponent about 2 people going on removals, if you can. If you're going to a nursing home or a hospital or even a hospice home, you don't always need 2 people. If you know there's staff there or if the family's there, but do not ever go into a situation thinking, oh, the family can help, or oh, hospice nurse will be there at the home. You could have like a 10-step flight of stairs going into a house, and the only person that's there is the 90-year-old spouse of the person that died because they had no kids. The hospice nurse already left, and you're left now to take this person out to your vehicle with a cot down 10 steps, not 10 flights, but down 10 steps, and there's nobody to help you. So home removals, I don't know why anyone would ever go with one person. I think it is just a train wreck, lawsuit situation waiting to happen. That's my feeling. I would never do it. That's my own thing though. But nursing homes, hospitals, where somebody else will be around, but don't always. I have gone on removals to all those where there is nobody will help me. Nobody will step in. You ask somebody to help you and they're like, no, we don't do that. Security guards at the hospital, yeah, no thanks, not helping. Police officers on a scene, yeah, I don't know, where I have to tell them to get their booty over there to help. So make sure you have the appropriate number of people. Always find out how heavy the person is when you're going into it. Have that as part of your question on the first call when they're call in, and, tactfully asked, do you know about how much the person weighs so we can appropriately send staff and so forth. Now, Darlene asked, I'd be interested in hearing about your experiences with doing removals from someone's home. How much do the staff interact with the family, and do you have any tips that may help to make it a more peaceful process for the family? So here's kind of what I do when I go on a home call. I take 2 people. I like to have a cot cover that's a quilt, not just the body bag zip up thing. If you know it's a veteran, bring the flag, a small flag that you can put over. But the quilt is huge. It is like bringing in a big warm blanket that you're going to bring home their loved one with. It makes all the difference. When I get to the home, me and the staff member, I ask that they come in with me usually. Sometimes they wait in the car, it just depends, but go in and meet the family first. Get a layout. kind of see where the person is, meet the family, answer some questions first. So you're not just standing there with a cot looking like you're ready to go as you're having a conversation. It makes it more relaxed. It allows you to, generate more of a conversation. And you can say, could you show me, where your mom is? I'd like to see her and pay my respects. Or, you can always phrase things really well that you're not, hey, I'd like to check out where mom is to see where we're going to bring in the cot. No. Could you show me where your mom is? I would like to pay respects to her and kind of meet her for the first time if you hadn't ever met her, or, different ways that you can phrase it. And they'll take you and show you where they are. And then you get a layout of the land and see what you're dealing with. And then when you, when you've kind of had all your questions answered, maybe set up your arrangement time, talked about embalming, you can then say, are you and your family ready for us to bring your mom back into our care? And you just explain, we're going to bring in a hospital. It looks like a hospital cot. And we're going to bring that in and we're going to place your mom on it. And you're welcome to assist us. You're welcome to be here while we're doing that. Or you can step in the other room. That's up to you. And then we are going to give you one more chance to, see your mom before we take her out to our vehicle. Always say, you're welcome to help us with any of this. You're welcome to help us take her out to the vehicle. All of it. Now, some funeral homes have strict policy about covering the person's face. I'm an uncovered faced sort of person. I don't think there's any reason to cover them up, especially if you're walking out in the dead of night or, if you're going through the hallway to nursing home or through the hospital, you need to cover up. It's just an appropriate thing. And if you just tell the family, we're going to need to cover your mom's face at this point, but when we get out to the vehicle, I am going to uncover her. And just explain to the family what you're doing rather than, okay, zip her up. We're taking her now. It's all just about presentation and tact and explaining it gingerly. You don't have to be all soft and quiet with the head cocked, but just explaining to people and being as is, just kind of putting out there what's taking place. But I always, take my time, and you may get to houses. So here's the thing is you may get to the house and the hospice nurse called you because she kind of wanted to get out of there. And so you've come to the house and the family's not ready. They're not even close to ready. They have family that's not even there yet. And it's going to be a cremation service. So they want to spend more time with them. You take your time. You call us when you're ready and we'll come back to the home. If they think it's only going to be 10, 20 minutes, then say, we can go wait in our vehicle for you and you can let me know when you're ready. Or, would you like to talk about anything? Just feel it out because you're always going to have different situations. All of them are going to be different. I've shown up on calls for 98-year-old people and the medical examiner's there because it ended up the guy had committed suicide and nobody knew about it because they didn't realize that he had done that. They thought he just had a heart attack. So you just never quite know what you're walking into sometimes. But I think that's kind of the fun of it is it's always different and you always have to kind of figure out what's going on and go in with your, the knowledge from everyone previous. Now, sometimes you go to these removals and you're acting on behalf of the funeral home, but if your funeral home does contract work for like the medical examiner or the coroner, you may just be going and bringing the person into your care to go to get an autopsy. At that point, you're not conversing with the family. You're not doing any of that because you're not talking to them on behalf of the funeral home. You're not allowed to talk to them because they still haven't maybe made up their mind what funeral home they're using. So it's kind of illegal for you to be planting seeds as to who they should call. So there's two different, depending on where you work for and what their kind of MO is with that. Let's see. Always do the removal the same way. This is a big thing as well. So whether you are at 2 p.m. at someone's home where neighbors are watching, everybody's seeing you, the family's all there, hospice is there, everybody's there, and you're covering the person with the flag to take them out of the home and put them in the vehicle, use that same care, the same tact, the same steps as you would at 2 a.m. when nobody is at the hospital except you and the security guard. Still, use the same measures, cover them with a flag, use all the same levels of respect and care. Don't do things just because people are watching. Do them because that is what you feel needs to be done for every single person that you care for. Make it your non-negotiable, your level of service that you're always doing. Not do it because you feel like you have to. I think that's really important. Laura asked, how much information is shared with you on cause of death? Specifically, if the person was contagious or had a communicable disease at time of death, and how do you protect yourself? So I think to answer this, you have to start with the end. Always use the same level of PPE, the same precautions, the same everything. If you're going to move a body, make sure the mouth is covered with something. That way, when they expel air, if they had MRSA, if they had nothing, you're still kind of containing the expellation of, if that's even a word, expellation of that air and those molecules. Wear gloves. It is never, don't worry that you're insulting the family because you're putting gloves on. Every hospice nurse that's coming through that home has put gloves on, when they're doing their thing, or every doctor at the hospital. So don't worry that you're offending, because you're not. You are doing what you need to do to protect yourself, and you're taking care of their loved one. End of story. Now, most of the time, if it's anything major, so if it's like C. diff or MRSA, things like that, if you're at the hospital, there's going to be a big biohazard tag on the person or on the bag, or, depending on the hospital. Some hospitals have the person in a body bag every time. Sometimes they're just wrapped in sheets like little mummies with tags on them. So it just depends on the hospital. But typically, if they have anything that's contagious, they'll be labeled and marked, and you will know during that removal process about it. Now, I will tell you, I have gone on a removal before, and I transferred the person over the cot. We got the person out to the vehicle, and the hospice nurse came out, who had been in with us this whole time. She came out to the vehicle and she said, "Just so you know, they do have MRSA." I don't know how I didn't come out of my skin that she stood there that whole time watching us and never said anything. And we had plenty of private moments that she could have whispered it. She could have let us know. She could have had it on the paperwork when she handed it to us. Something she never did. Now, we had taken precautions. We knew, we had done what we did, but I had a very stern discussion with her supervisor when I got back to the funeral home, because that never should happen. You should always be very forthcoming with that information. Cause of death, you're going to get that on the death certificate. It shouldn't matter, but those contagions are typically passed on, and you're typically told about them ahead of time. Rosemary wanted to know about brands of portable cots, good or bad. I have no brand preference with this. So maybe there's some other people in our group that could give you more information. I would go into like Embalmers Who Care or Embalmers Who Know, those two Facebook groups, and post that question, because you're going to get a lot more information from them than you would from me on that topic. So now Daniel had wanted to know, do you need a permit to transport? Not when you do the removal. You don't need any kind of paperwork and any permit, like a burial transit permit. Once the person's in your care and you're transporting across state lines or to the crematory or to the cemetery, then that is at that point when you need the burial transit permit or the cremation transit permit. What if the person is on the second floor? Then you carry them up and down the stairs. And that's why you need the two people. You can do stairs with one, but I don't want a chance dropping somebody. I want two solid people to ensure we're going to take care of that body the best way we can, and as safely as we can. So definitely stairs and things, two people, and you learn how to maneuver around situations. You learn how to use sheets and kind of anything you got. Sometimes you can't, older houses, they're too narrow. You can't get cots to back bedrooms, and everybody's always in the back bedroom. Like, it's just Murphy's Law that, you're going to encounter these hard situations where they are very heavy, and they are on the third floor, and they are in the back bathroom next to the toilet. And that's just what it is. And you assess each situation, try and figure out the best way you can handle it, and go from there. If you have to call an extra staff member, we encountered that. We took a couple staff members to a person's home, and they were heavy. We just could not physically get them up off the floor, which is a really hard position because you have to lift their whole body up to get them on the cot, no matter what, if they're all the way on the floor. And this person was all the way on the floor, and we didn't have enough manpower, so we had to wait until we could get more staff members. And the family was very gracious. We explained to them kind of what was happening, and even with the family helping us, we couldn't do it. So it just depends on the situation, but you just work it out and are as gracious. And if the person's got maggots all over them, you can't react and go, oh my God. You have to maintain your tact, maintain your professionalism, no matter what it is you're encountering. I've walked into some nasty decomp situations, and the fire department's freaking out, and the police were freaking out, and so somebody had to be the rational, non-freaking outer, even though I was freaking the heck out inside. The whole house stunk. The guy was 3 times his normal size. I was terrified if we moved him, he was literally going to explode because his skin was stretched that taut. But I just rolled with it like I dealt with it every day, and that it was my job, and it is my job. So, you just take control and you just go forward. So, yeah, that is, I think, all the questions you guys submitted to me. And as always, post more questions below. Let me know what you guys want to know, maybe situations you've encountered and you wonder how maybe I would handle them, or how anybody else might have handled them. And I will talk to you guys soon. So